Hello guys, and welcome to my first video. This is going to be a DFS Draftkings like sports betting fantasy type channel now. If you are following me, my 1,000 subscribers for Quincy videos, that as you know is on my main channel if you're still following me. So this is now going to be strictly Draftkings. So without further ado, let's get into week 3 of the NFL DraftKings slate. This is just my first look. I have not looked at any of the players yet, so this is just going to be kind of what I think of each positional group, what players I will be playing and what players I don't think I'll be playing much. And I'll probably go into more depth of the plays that I like later in the week. But starting off, we'll go through the quarterback position. So first off, we see Kyler Murray. He's an obvious play every week. He's priced pretty high, but he's going against Jacksonville, who's possibly the worst team in the league. Trevor Lawrence has not looked that great, and I don't know if Urban Meyer is it. Patrick Mahomes, obvious play every week. Lamar Jackson going against Detroit. Detroit just got shredded by Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones on the ground. Russell Wilson. And so far, all of these, pricey quarterbacks I do like, and usually that's not the case. Usually I like paying down at quarterback because that's where you get your floor, and then I like paying up at especially the wide receiver position because that is where you can get your ceiling and, of course, the stud workhorse running backs. And the tight end position is pretty bad this year, so being able to get a better tight end is always nice. But, so far I haven't disliked any of these quarterbacks. Josh Allen, or I like Russell Wilson against Minnesota. That could be a shootout. Josh Allen against Washington, maybe the first top-heavy quarterback against that defense, and Josh Allen has not looked the same as he has last year. Tom Brady, definitely not playing him this week. He is going against the Rams defense, which has been very good. The Bucs have played the Cowboys, and just recently they played the Falcons, who have a terrible defense, and both have terrible defenses. So I will be avoiding him. He has to score like 4 to 5 touchdowns. He doesn't run at all in order to hit value, so I'd definitely rather go elsewhere. Justin Herbert against the Chiefs. It could be a shootout. I like him. Stafford against the Bucs. Stafford's been playing well, but the Bucs still have a pretty good defense, and I think that the Rams could regress a little bit this next week. Kirk Cousins against Seattle. I've never liked playing Kirk Cousins, really. Tannehill against the Colts. They run the ball so much that I especially at over 6,000, I don't really like Tannehill that much. Baker Mayfield, he just kind of got banged up going against Chicago, who still has a decent defense, and they're priced at 6,000. Not a huge fan. Derek Carr against Miami. Again, he also got banged up. I am not really looking. I never really played Derek Carr. He just doesn't really have a rushing floor, and Miami's defense is pretty good. Going to Daniel Jones against the Falcons. The Falcons have been getting shredded, and Daniel Jones has actually looked pretty good this year. And he offers, a rushing upside, which is what you want. And he's getting a little pricier, but I do like him a lot for cash games. I definitely think he could be in consideration. Teddy Bridgewater against the Jets. The Jets are terrible, but Teddy Bridgewater, he has looked good this year, but that's just a 2-game sample size. Over the course of his career, he's never been one that really hits a ceiling that often, and he doesn't really have that much of a ceiling to begin with. Carson Wentz banged up going against Tennessee. He's kind of, I'm indifferent. If he was for sure healthy, maybe I'd consider him. I could see them playing from behind. Big Ben is also, it's like so many quarterbacks got banged up this past week, and now he's dealing with I think a pectoral strain. So I don't really want to play Big Ben. He hasn't really looked the greatest this year. Taylor Heineke against Buffalo. Buffalo has a pretty solid defense. Not really interested. Winston against the Patriots. Winston is just, he could either have a complete dud or he could, go crazy. So he's always in tournament consideration. I wouldn't play him in cash games. Joe Burrow against the Steelers. I do love Joe Burrow, but the Bengals' offensive line is absolutely terrible going against Pittsburgh's defensive line, and that could get ugly very quickly. Trevor Lawrence against the Cardinals. I'm not interested in Lawrence at all. his price is getting lower, so if it gets even lower next week, then I'd be interested, but definitely not now. Okay, Matt Ryan against the Giants. This may be my favorite play so far of the quarterbacks. Matt Ryan hasn't looked good thus far, but he still scored over 20 fantasy points, I believe. Was it? Okay, so first game he did bad, but he scored over 20 fantasy points against the Bucks. He needs 17 points to hit value in cash games, and he can easily get that and more. So I'm definitely playing a lot of Matt Ryan probably in tournaments and maybe even in cash games this week. Tua versus Vegas. He got banged up again. So did Dalton. All these quarterbacks got banged up. But looking at Justin Fields now, if Andy Dalton is out, now that I'm looking at Fields, I could see myself playing either Matt Ryan or Fields in double-ups or in cash games this week. And, even in tournaments, he might go lower-owned in tournaments. So definitely interested in Field. You always want to be early on these rookie quarterbacks if they actually are good. If he goes off this week against the Browns, then everyone's going to play him the next week. So you always want to be early on that. Jared Goff, no against the Ravens. That's a definite no. Mac Jones against the Saints, definitely no. The Saints have a great defense. Wilson against Denver, who I think has Denver as the best defense in the league, in my opinion. And Wilson just threw 4 interceptions in a quarter, so definite no on Wilson. I think that's about all. So I would say these top-heavy, these rushing quarterbacks, Allen, Wilson, Lamar, Mahomes, all these guys on the top, and then I kind of don't like this mid-tier at all. And then I like Matt Ryan Matt Ryan and Fields, if he plays, are my favorite value quarterback so far. So let's go into the running back position. Derrick Henry, he just went off against the Seahawks. I am one of those people that usually doesn't play Derrick Henry just because, in years past, he has not had much of a reception floor, which is what you want out of these high-priced running backs. So I usually just try to stay away from him, and just, if you're going to play Derrick Henry, play him when he's lower owned, because when he's 30% owned, I don't know what he'll be this week. I doubt it. He's kind of pricey. But you don't want to play Derrick Henry in those spots just because he has such an easy path to failure. He could easily go for 20 rushes when they're playing from behind and 80 rushing yards and no touchdowns. Or he has those big games, but I won't play him this week. Dalvin Cook against Seattle. Dalvin Cook is always in play to me. Same with Kamara. Chubb against Chicago. Chubb's kind of like Derrick Henry, where he doesn't really have as high of a reception floor as Cook, Kamara, Eckler, Taylor even. Taylor's been, spiking up in receptions this year heavily. I actually really like Taylor at that price tag, $6,700. I do like him more if Wentz plays, though. I'm not a huge fan of the Colts backups quarterbacks. Nick Chubb, so not really interested in Chubb. Eckler against Kansas City, I definitely have interest. We saw 9 targets last week. Najee Harris still getting 100% of the snaps pretty much. Going against Cincinnati, I could see the Bengals turning it over a lot this game, and Pittsburgh playing from ahead. I do like Najee in this spot. Saquon at 6,500. If Saquon is playing all of snaps this week, I really like Saquon. Or at least even if he's playing 70% at 6,500 against the Falcons, that's just a very, very good spot. I definitely like Saquon this week. Chris Carson was chalky last week. Everyone was playing him, and then he had he got there with 2 touchdowns, but he only had I don't know, I think it was 30 rushing yards. So he would have had 3 points. He had no targets, I don't think. I don't think he had any receptions. He got there all on touchdowns. I might have a little bit of Carson, but not much. Joe Mixon against the Steelers, not interested at all. Jacobs, I like Mixon, but I don't like him in this spot. Jacobs, I'd never play Jacobs really unless he's super cheap. David Montgomery against the Browns. He's been kind of splitting with Damian Williams, so I don't know, I could see them playing from behind. Williams getting more passing work. I'm not a huge fan. Madison, that's just if Dalvin Cook was in. Gibson against Buffalo. Again, McKissick's getting a lot of work. Darrell Henderson, I would like if he was fully healthy. Actually, no, he's going against Tampa Bay. I don't like playing any running backs against Tampa Bay, so I will not play Henderson. Swift against Baltimore. I think Baltimore's D is pretty solid. Yeah, I don't like Swift much. Baltimore's running back against Detroit. I have some interest, but they kind of have a committee going. They have Williams in there. They have like Devonta Freeman now. They have Latavius Murray. They just have so many, and they don't really get that many receptions. Gonna probably pass on him. James Robinson, he splits with Carlos Hyde. Definitely not interested. Chase Edmonds, I do like Chase Edmonds. He's been getting a lot of passing work. He gets rushing work, like 8 attempts. He had another 5 targets. So he's getting some higher value touches. He's getting pricier though. He's been in the 4,000s now. He's at 5,700, so it's getting up there. Kareem Hunt, I don't like in season long fantasy. Players like Kareem Hunt, Chubb, the players I said I don't like, they're great. But in DFS, when you're trying to find and pick and choose your spots, going against the Chicago defense, you're trying to hit a ceiling when you're playing tournaments, and even cash, you want to have somewhat of a ceiling. So when you're splitting the backfield, it's just harder to get there. And so I like running backs that kind of have it all to themselves. Damian Harris against New Orleans D, definitely no. James White's been getting a ton of work. Melvin Gordon against the Jets, no. Javonte Williams is better and should be starting. Kenyon Drake against the Dolphins, no. Gaskin, Latavius Murray, no. McKissick, no. I like Mike Davis versus the Giants a lot. Cordero Patterson's been getting some work, but Mike Davis is still playing a lot of the snaps, most of the snaps, getting the passing down work. I like Mike Davis this week against the Giants. So, I like Atlanta this week, I guess. I like Matt Ryan. I like the Saquon coming back, so I might be stacking that game up. Jamal Williams, no. Again, split backfield. James Conner, no. Fournette, no. Let's see if there's any cheap. Michelle, I guess, at 4,900. If Darrell Henderson is out from his injury, even though he's going against Tampa Bay, if he's getting like all of the snaps for the Rams, that's a lot of value. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, wow. Okay, that's surprising to me. So against the Chargers, he's 4,800. I know he hasn't done much. However, he's the lead back for like the best offense in the entire league, and he's due for some touchdown. I'll definitely be playing Clyde Edwards-Helaire this week, probably in cash games. Yeah, I just can't see him not being in like a cash game lineup. I'll be playing a ton of him. Yeah, nobody else in this range I'm interested in. Yeah. Now that we went through the running backs, let's go through a receiver. Okay, so starting at the top, Tyreek Hill. He's always in tournament consideration. Usually not the best cash game play because he can have a game like last against the Ravens where he barely did anything. Usually you want the players like, the Diggs and the Ridleys and the Hopkins that typically get more volume. But he's always a great tournament play. He could get 40, 50 points any given week. Hopkins against Jacksonville, that could be a blow-up spot, but although they could be playing from ahead that entire game. Diggs against Washington, I'll probably have some Diggs. I usually like having spread my exposure out between all these good wide receivers. This is where I like paying up for. So I'll have some Diggs. Lockett has had 2 games in a row where he's blown up. I guess he could go a third, but I think he'll be higher owned this week, and I'd rather just pivot onto Metcalf, who is due for some touchdown regression and a big blow-up game. So I'll probably fade Lockett this week, play Metcalf. Jefferson against Seattle. Jefferson, I can see that game shooting out, and just like the Seahawks receivers, Thielen has been going off, and Jefferson hasn't. So I'll probably fade Thielen, go Jefferson. Definitely playing Ridley. I like that Falcons game. Cooper Kupp. I love Cooper Kupp. I have him in most of my season-long leagues. He is going against Tampa. I could see tons and tons of people playing him. And he's probably a good cash game because Matthew Stafford is just looking his way like every single play. However, for tournaments, I'll probably play more Robert Woods. just because Robert Woods he gets some rushing work. He can easily have a blow-up game just like Cooper Kupp if a team ever just decides to bracket Kupp or shut him down. I could easily see Woods having a blow-up spot. So I'll probably be playing some Kupp, but more Woods this week. Thielen, like I said, I'll probably fade him for Jefferson. Keenan Allen, he just came off of, he didn't have a bad game, but everybody played him last week, and he didn't have that blow-up game. So I could see tons of people fading him this week because people are, recency bias. So, and they're going against the Chiefs now, should be playing from behind. I think I'm going to play some Keenan Allen this week. As you can see, a lot of these like I said, I like these receivers a lot. I don't like the bargain bin receivers ever very much. They just don't get the workload. A.J. Brown, I like him. Him or Julio, I'll probably have a little bit of exposure to each going against the Colts. Mike Williams has been, I don't think anyone saw what he's doing this year coming. He's been absolutely going crazy. An assistant from the Saints that went over to the Chargers is basically called Mike Williams in the same role Michael Thomas had for the Saints, and he is all over the field. He is getting like 10-plus targets a game. I will definitely be playing, and he's still cheaper than Keenan Allen. I will definitely be playing. I could see myself stacking that Chiefs-Chargers game up a bit. Deontay Johnson coming off an injury. I don't want to play him. Mike Evans against the Rams. Should see, Jalen Ramsey a lot. Don't like it. Allen Robinson against Cleveland. Fields is playing. I'll probably have more, but if Dalton somehow plays again, probably 0. I don't like Dalton's terrible. Godwin against the Rams. Like I said, I'm not huge on this Tampa Bay. I could see this game going under, honestly. A lot of people might expect a shootout in this game, but you have two good defenses. Everyone probably is expecting like a Brady-Stafford shootout, but I could see that game being underwhelming. And if it's popular, I definitely want to go elsewhere. Juju against the Bengals. If Deontay's out, that helps him in Claypool's floor. But it's just so hard with the Steelers receivers. It could be any of them. So I usually just like sprinkle in some Steelers, but that's about it. Cortland Sutton against the Jets. He just came off his blow-off game. I usually don't like playing players right after they have their like ceiling game. They'll probably be playing ahead in that game, so I could see Gordon Williams getting much more of the work, not passing much. Shepard has, like I said, I like that Falcons-Giants game. He's been going crazy. He's been getting a ton of workload. So in my Daniel Jones lineups, I'll probably be stacking him with mix of Shepard and Galladay. Landry to IR. Claypool, I already went over him. I already talked about Woods. I like him. Just talked about Galladay. Marquise Brown has been one of the most consistent wide receivers going into like mid last year. He scored like a touchdown or like I believe like over 60 yards in pretty much every game. He's been very consistent for a receiver that everybody thinks is this like boom or bust. Jamar Chase, I love Jamar Chase. He was like my favorite rookie coming into this year. He's coming off of 2 games where he's had a touchdown in both, going against Pittsburgh and that offensive line getting pressured. I just can't see him getting a ton of volume. I love Chase, don't like him in this spot. Odell, who knows with him, he's injured like every year, so probably avoid him against the Bears. But he is a great tournament play. He'll probably be like less than 2% owned, and it's Odell, so he can easily go for 150 and 2. So maybe I'll have like 2% Odell in tournaments. Rondell Moore, I'll probably have some, even though he just blew up. He's been getting like all sorts of work for the Cardinals, and Kyler has been playing incredible. I'll definitely have a little bit of Rondell. Crowder, Hilton, LaVisca, sprinkle in Gage. I mean, he still is the wide receiver 2 for the Falcons. So I said I like Matt Ryan. Therefore, I like Pitts a ton. I'll get into tight end probably next. I don't know what Pitts' price is, but I'll probably like him. Sanders, I like a bit. He's really cheap, and I don't know. I could see them trying to shut Diggs down. Washington has been getting beat, like as we saw against Sterling Shepard, kind of shred them. And then in week 1, Keenan Allen had still over 100 yards. I could see Sanders having a decent game here against Washington. I don't ever really like anyone in this range. So On to tight end. Travis Kelce every week is a play. Tournaments, cash games. I mean, you can't really usually go wrong with him. He's the best tight end in the league. Waller, if you're, I haven't really looked at the value here to see if there's a value tight end, but I'm assuming it'll be optimal to play one of these top heavy ones. It's such a crapshoot down here. You don't there's nobody. You scroll down like one page and it's just garbage. So. Yeah, so Kelce, like Waller, I don't like Gronk because, like I said, Gronk is coming off of 4 touchdowns in 2 games. He's going against the Rams. Like he's gonna regress. He's priced up here. I just don't like the spot for Gronk. So he probably is. A lot of more people play him too. So he's gonna be chalky, a bit more chalky. Yeah, I don't like that. Hawkinson against the Ravens. He's like the only dude there. So. You gotta have some interest. Like Mark Andrews, like I said, I like Kyle Pitts at 4,900. I'm pretty sure he'll be like the optimal cash game play. Or Noah Fant, because Noah Fant's been getting a lot of work especially after Judy got injured. I don't like Logan. I like Logan Thomas, but not really against Buffalo. John Higbee, I guess, at 4K. Because he's the main tight end for the Rams, but he didn't get a lot of volume last week against the Colts. Yeah, he got 1 target, and I guess he only got 6 the first week, but he's still, like I said, it's hard when you get down here. It's better just to play these like Pitt and Fant and above. That's probably where I'll be for cash games tournaments this week. Let's see if there's any cheap receiver or cheap tight end that I like. No. Yeah. No. So that's pretty much easy for tight end. Last defense. Defense is, I don't really usually go through these. It's just it's the most volatile position. It's just whoever gets a defensive touchdown usually is in the tournament winner. And cash game, it's usually better to pay down because then you can pay up at the higher floor positions. So again, tournaments you can pay up because they're lower owned, but cash games it's better to stay in this range. There's not much to add there. I'll be doing a showdown slate for the Panthers game Thursday, but I hope you guys enjoyed this first video, and I will be doing a more in-depth week 3 analysis later this week to give you my go-to plays for both tournaments and cash games. So thank you for watching. I'm going to be doing this every week. It's just a hobby of mine, so I thought if I'm going to spend time on it, why not try to make some more videos. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for the showdown slate.